Shalom, חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום, שלום, חברים, שלום, חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום, שלום,
שלום חברים, שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום.
Yeah, I found them.
Hi.
Well, I had it too. The best pool teacher in the whole world.
שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום, שלום חברים, שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות,
שלום, חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות,
Say hello to the birthday boy. How's it
שלום.
going? Looks like they're about to do a show. Happy birthday.
שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום, שלום חברים, שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות, שלום.
שלום חברים, שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות,
So a guy walks into a bar and says, ouch. Grapes are good for the yeah, that's the chillax. That's the one.
שלום, שלום,
Lionel Messi.
שלום חברים, שלום חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות,
חברים, שלום, שלום, להתראות,
Aaron, you want a beer?
Before we start the cake and do the ceremonial stuff we have to do, to get a sense of who Michael is, we have to kind of combine the stories that each of us may have. At least one person has asked me, do they have to be nice? I said, no, they don't have to be nice, so who knows what you're going to hear. So I'd like to ask a brave lead-off storyteller to come up.
You want to know what I said? I said, don't marry an Israeli. But let me say that one of the most amazing things about Michael is actually how nice he is.
Yes.
And that is the clear memory for me about present existence and feeling about it Because Michael is a true, in the Yiddish word, mensch. And if you don't understand what mensch means in Yiddish, I'd be happy to tell you, or by example, Michael is an incredible mensch, a good person. He's not a tzaddik yet, but a mensch, yes.
What's the sign?
A righteous man.
Oh,
Saint.
Now, one of the other things that I admire so much about Michael, because it is so different from me, is that he has a complete inability to say something nasty about anyone. I strongly suspect he doesn't even think negative things about people. But it is so rare that we find in life, I think, someone who exemplifies being nice and who exemplifies being good to other people. To say that I have known him for so long, and it goes back, my gosh, Michael, to what year do you remember?
Early 70s.
1970.
Great things of you in the future, and when you finally learn how to play chess, I will play with you. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to use my theater training here. Can you all hear me in the back? So I met Michael, or the man I call Abba, and have for since I was about. Did I start calling you Abba at 5? I think I started calling you Abba almost right away. I met Abba when I was 5, and Adina was just a little bit younger than this one. And some of my memories, I was thinking about a couple of memories. One of them was when I think I was 7, and they had a father-daughter night at my school. And and I think that Abba remembers this as a humiliation. We went, and he was so sweet, and and it meant a lot to me that he went with me. And they had a race where the dad had to blow up a balloon. And poor Abba, it turns out, does not blow up balloons. and all the kids ran up, and Abba couldn't get his balloon. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't blow up at all. And what I remember is I don't think that I was very sympathetic. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I don't think I was very kind about it. and I do know that afterwards that this was one of Abba's memories of having failed. And what I wanted to say, I was thinking about, it meant so much to me that you came there with me and was there for me, that it wasn't a failure. And that being there is something that you've always done. And that's and then the other memory I had was when we all made green daisa, and Abba just could not stand. There's one thing that Abba could not stand. It was people playing with their food. People playing with their food was one thing that was absolutely intolerable. And so one day we all decided that we wanted to make green eggs and ham, but we didn't have eggs and we didn't have ham, but we had cream of wheat. And if I recall, we didn't have green, we had blue. So we made blue cream of wheat. And we sat there completely delighted with this, and Abba just could not stand it. He absolutely just had to leave the table, and in fact, I feel like for me, Abba leaving the table was the highlight of the blue cream of wheat.
what a great story.
So those were my 2 stories. Who's next?
I was thinking of Abba memories, and I have 2 things I want to say. One is that day you kicked my ass in the tunnel in London Park. I deserved it. I just want you to know, I deserved it. So if you ever feel bad about that ever again in your life, don't. I deserved it. Now, did you or did you not love your children more? Because that was a constant refrain in our childhood. You love your kids more than you love us. What I know now, after many years of my own children and being a stepfather for a limited amount of time, is that what you did is you loved us well. So it doesn't matter if you loved us more or less, or who you loved or how you loved all of us very well. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. So I just want to say thank you.
But I'll give it a try. Happy birthday, Abba. I tried again yesterday and failed again yesterday. 45 years and I still can't beat you in ping pong. But I'm going to come back. Table tennis, and there were witnesses yesterday. It was horrible. And they were older than him. I'm still trying. No, Abba, what I'll say about you is I would say dedication and commitment to all of us, to the whole family. And my memory of Abba is every other weekend I would have my stuff packed and ready at my mom's house, and I would just wait, and sure enough, first it was the blue Datsun, and then it was, what were the other cars? There was a green one, and I went on and on. But you would show up, you would drive from Oakland to Fairfield to do a loop, because you had your ways. So he would drive down one freeway and pick me up, and we would drive home on 80, and we would stop at the Red Top Dairy and have an ice cream, and they had these little cow milk creamers on the tables, and it was the routine every other Friday. And now as a parent, if I think Friday traffic, you had to leave work, you were probably exhausted, you fought the traffic in two directions to make sure that Dan and I could come and hang out with the big family. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm sure there are more stories, but we'll stop there. Thank you. Happy birthday.
I met Michael through Mark and Gail when they moved to Portland, and I said, oh, this is great, because I said, Michael and I could meet once in a while for coffee, and he could teach me Hebrew. Because I was trying to improve my Hebrew, and Michael's obviously a native Hebrew speaker. I said, great. So we started doing that. Well, it turned out Michael is not a good Hebrew teacher, and I'm not a good Hebrew learner. So that didn't work out well at all. But we started spending time together anyway, and we started having coffee every week, and we started doing Hebrew Tash Beitzim crossword puzzles. Simple, easy Hebrew crossword puzzles. This was fun, and it was sometimes frustrating for me because Michael would always jump in and say and give the answer before I even had a chance to think about it. But it was all right. It was fun. We did crossword puzzles, and then we evolved from coffee to breakfast. We started having breakfast together every week, and we to this day we still do crossword puzzles sometimes. But we just spend a lot of time. We just spend together talking, and we just talk. We talk about things that, sometimes our families, our spouses, sometimes a lot of the time about Israel. Michael has a lot to say about what's going on in Israel. So, not surprising, but I think it's something that I know for me. It's something that has become a part of my life that I really, really value. I really look forward to, and every Wednesday morning I go pick up Michael, and we go out to breakfast, and it's a wonderful thing. I look at Michael. I like having breakfast with Michael for one reason, because he's older than I am, and I find there are fewer and fewer people that I could say that about as time goes on. In this crowd, there are more. This is good. This is good, but Michael is one of the most positive people I know. So when I think of as I get older and maybe get ill, Michael is kind of a model for me in terms of how to get old gracefully, positively, be happy. He has things to deal with, but that's all right. He's just seems always positive and just always inspiring to be around. So it's just for me. It's just been a joy to get to know him. I look forward to many more breakfasts, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
I'm Kaylee, for those of you who don't know me. I want to take a second and toast to Abba and to Grandma, and also recognize that this is the first time that we've all been together as a family in a really long time. And it feels really good to be here. So thank you for everyone who's traveled far.
Here.
And yeah, what was it we were saying, 2006 was the last family reunion that you guys were at? The wonderful olive oil spill year, I think. But
laugh about it now.
It wasn't spilled.
But Saba, I think not so much as a one particular memory, but just being in your presence growing up. And you've always held space for us in such a loving and compassionate way. Whether we were feeling joy or sorrow, sitting next to Saba is always a good feeling. So I love you all. I'm so glad that we're here together tonight.
Here.
You may not know me. My name is Aaron, and I'm a good friend. And as you can hear from my accent, I was not born here. In fact, I am almost from the same place as Michael. He was born in the kibbutz in the east part of the Jezreel Valley, and I was born in the Moshav, which is in the west part of the same valley. So even though I didn't know Michael when he was an Israeli growing up there, when we sit together and we talk, I feel that I know him very well because it's the same background, the same story, the same plowing on the tractor, the same. And there was a mention here earlier that his wife was given an advice not to marry an Israeli, but I can tell you, as an Israeli, he's the best of them. He is an Israeli that all Israelis should be proud of, that kind of Israeli. And so I cherish your friendship. It's always been a pleasure to sit together and talk in Hebrew, of course. And I'm very blessed to know you.
So within the same theme of what Kaylee was talking about, our whole family being together all over again, among many other things that I really love about Saba Abba Michael, I want to highlight his role as one of the most calm family members among all the craziness. No matter what was going on, all the kids being wild and their parents being stressing over keeping us in control, Saba was always the one who kind of like sat back and laughed about everything that was going on and didn't freak out too much, so much appreciated. Even though we're all back together a little bit tamer, I'd say, than the other years.
He saw a lot worse.
Well, one of Saba's exclamations that I really carry dear to my heart is "ugh," which I think
One of
a major one, but I have definitely noticed myself saying it. I notice a lot in Nomi and also Ben, and I just always think of you whenever I hear somebody say "ugh."
Isla always tells me that I gasp like Saba.
Yeah.
Because whenever anything happens, I go, and it sounds exactly like Saba.
You did that a lot with
A story I can tell about Saba is I remember you were playing with me one time a game called Jail, where you would like imprison me, and I had to like fight for my freedom. And it was I loved this. It was great.
And you gave great hugs as well.
Yeah.
Great hugs.
Love you, Saba.
Love you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hi, Abba. So, I am really not a public speaker, but I really want to speak for you on your birthday today. And Ben, the jail game,
He once he played that with me when I was little too. And he divulged at one point that that was the only way he could really hug and, you know, get a good hug. So he used the game for that, and you might want to know that as well. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So family is something that has so been imbued in my life by your presence and the way that you've when you had a separation with your first wife, Lynn, you kind of had a freak out moment, I think, and you were on your way back to Israel. And you got to England and decided, visiting with your family there, and you decided that maybe you needed to come back, and you did. And you've been a constant, strong, beautiful presence ever since. And you brought so much family into my life and showed me the way family really needs to be. And it's the happiest memories, truly the happiest memories of my life is our family. I know there are some things I wanted to say too, but when I get up like this, I often just blank. I know that one of your favorite stories is, well, I was going to tell it, but it really would just mean something to us and not to any of these other and you tell it all the time, so.
Dan, tell it. Tell it.
Well, I was only... I was only about 5 years old, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were playing wiffle ball, and you would pitch to me and I would swing and hit the ball, and one swing I hit so hard that it went over a fence and into our landlord's cup of coffee.
Great story.
And he came over and actually had a good reaction, and it was all good, but that story gets told quite a bit. And it's a great memory. Ping pong, Adina. I'll tell you the only time I beat Abba in ping pong was, this is the trick. He was traveling by car from the Bay Area to Eugene after about a 12-hour drive. The first thing you do is just say, Abba, let's play ping pong. And then you have a home court where it's a very strange, there's an attic and it's hard to even stand up straight in it, but I've been playing there every day. And then that was the only time I ever beat you in ping pong was like that. And so anyway, I love you with all of my heart. Happy birthday.
The stepdaughter-in-law. And Saba and I really have a deep bond. I think he and I are the two introverts in this family of non-introverts. And so we often find ourselves looking at each other and saying, okay, we'll move on. But the other part that I want to say is not just my own special bond with Saba, but the bond that I've had with Saba ever since we met when I first came into this family. And we met at a wedding, and then we met at a Seder. And as we came together, we made more and more connections. And my children were welcomed by Saba as their Saba. And then my additional children, of course, have grown to love and adore their Saba. But I want to tell a story about when we were traveling to Israel for another wedding. And when we were coming back from the wedding, we stopped in England, and we were going to visit Ruth Heller, Saba's relative, aunt. And so Ilana and Ben wanted to know so who is Ruth? And I said, let's see. Ruth is your step, great, Aunt Ruth. And so it's with that kind of innovative and inventive joy in creating connections that I think we have had the greatest connections with Saba all through these many years. And so I would like to toast Saba with the toast that I have learned from him. Part of it is traditional. The other part is Saba. Ad mea ve'esrim.
Amen.
May you live to 100 and continue to look like 20.
To tell it. Saba taught me how to play both chess and backgammon, and I still remember to this year beating him at backgammon. And to this day we have not played. You have refused to play me since Rockaway when I beat you at backgammon. And I feel like on your 80th birthday it's time to play it out because you taught me how to play it, and I remember the year that I beat you. And judging by your face, you remember the year I beat you too. But I feel like it's time to play it out because I've gotten quite good at it and I think I might be an equal contender. But anyways, that was my happy birthday memory because that was one of the things that I still remember is at Rockaway beating you and the oy vey and then the not talking to me for the rest of the day after I beat you. It was a pretty good beat. I think I backgammoned you that game too and everything. I was pretty excited. But I still think about that when I play backgammon, is you teaching me and then beating you. And it was a good experience for me. No, I don't think so. Judging by there was no speaking and there was no playing. We have not played since this game, and I feel like it's time that this game gets played out.
Well, break out.
But anyways, happy birthday, Saba. I love you, and I'm so happy you taught me this game because I beat many a people with your strategy.
The first night I met Michael, he came to my house and it was utter chaos with 3 young kids in a small apartment, and I invited him for coffee, but I never had time to do the dishes. He came, and one of the first things he did is told my boys, who were, how old were you guys? You were like 7 and 9, something like that, that he knew an Oakland A's baseball player. And they didn't believe him. And he said, well, I can take you to the game with my son Dan. This was the first night. He called up his ex-wife's relative, said, can you get me 4 tickets? And my boys were going absolutely nuts. They were jumping in the air and screaming, and it's really true. And from that point on, they were hoping I'd marry him. But I feel forever grateful that Michael came into my life. I mean, I could tell many more stories. Some of them you don't want to hear. I mean, I know all the sides of Michael, and I still feel that he's one of the best men I have ever known and the most loving and accepting, because we're not all an easy family to live with, but he's made it all hang together. He's a glue that keeps us there and keeps us together. It's been a wonderful years with you. And I hope there's some more. 80 is only the beginning of a new era, right? So I just want to say how much I love and appreciate what you've given to all of us, to everybody that's known you.
He did.
Oh, he made them all do the dishes. They had their own system, which is a whole other story.
So with that final word, let's sing the traditional Happy Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.